religion has actually convinced people that there's an invisible man living in the sky who watches everything you do every minute of every day. And the invisible man has a special list of 10 things he does not want you to do. And if you do any of these 10 things, he has a special place full of fire and smoke and burning and torture and anguish where he will send you to live and suffer and burn and choke and scream and cry forever and ever till the end of time. But he loves you. He loves you. He loves you and he needs money. He always needs money. He's all powerful, all perfect, all knowing, and all wise. Somehow, just can't handle money.
Hey, people. That was George Carlin back in 1999. And I just learned this. I knew that we had shared some things, but I just learned this, that we also had shared a name. When my son was starting high school, I asked everybody around here, what's the best school? And everybody told me St. Stanislaus. They said anytime you hear of anybody around here that made it big, they've always come from St. Stanislaus, the Catholic school. So George Carlin went to the Catholic school in his early life, and you always see things from a different side when you come from a Catholic background. And he was too outspoken to finish his time up in the military, receive a general discharge after he had been court-martialed 3 times. And he wouldn't cater to the yuppies. He wasn't going to bow down to the money. And when asked what turned him on, he responded, reading about language. And when asked if he believed in God, he responded, No, there is no God. There might be some sort of an organized intelligence, and I think to understand it is way beyond our ability. And all through his career, he wasn't scared to bring up the taboo topics. And he had finally died of heart failure, several heart attacks, and pneumonia. And if you've been watching my stuff, you know that this nu is the wind, air, and this mo means that which is from, and naya is the word they say is no in Hebrew backwards, A-I-N. It's because they keep reading it backwards. No, from no air. Pneumonia, from no air. So when you're in church and they passing that plate around, don't feel obligated to find something in your pocket throw in there, because you have already given them the most valuable and precious thing you've got, and that's time. They never wanted you to know this, but if you look at the base word, time is the price. Time is the price of blood. Time is the honor. Time is the value. All these come from this base, just T-I-M. So all these with the I after are in this precious category. But if you click on the number here to bring into the base word, and it's time, honor, precious, respected, very costly. It's time, a value, a price. In Greek here, it's the pay time. And all the others, it's price. The treasury since the price of blood. And this amatos, anything, a toast creates a verbal adjective. Toast creates verbal adjectives. It turns dilute into dilutose, is dissolve or dissolvable. A bull. It turns it into a verbal adjective. So it's the pay time, bleedable, is it in. And so when you see it follow this omega with this iota script underneath it, it reads backwards after, and so it's the time of T-Y-M, time of joy, M-I-T, from it. So I was going to read this Revelation 18 because it's the script that the elite are following right now. But I'm just going to hit on some of these words. And you see it's several poems here. There'll be a line, and when these are offset, this is a poem. Be a couple lines and then another little poem. Every time you see one offset here, it's a poem. And so they take this all out of perspective when they interpret it. But it's a whole bunch of poems in here. But the interpretation of some of these words here is, it'll show you that it's a whole bunch of idioms. But when you look at it in this interlinear Bible, it takes everything out of perspective. You can't see where the poems start and end, and they kind of blend it together. So this starts, meditat, they dawn, all on, agalon, catavane on to. Meta from within thought. They dawn, they put on the thought. All on, agalon. This is haggle. Hagalon is 2 G's. I showed a couple movies ago. This is the same word for angel. Aggel. If you turn the L and the E around, it's the same word that the Greeks call the English language. But this hagalon, haggle is to discuss the price. So the price is the time. And so this comes from a hagalon. You have a different name for groups of animals. You have gaggle of geese and a school of fish. Well, a haggle is a group of harpists. A haggle of harpists. And that's where they get this angels from. And so when you see hagalon, it doesn't mean a harpist. It means a group of harpists and a group of angels. From within thought they dawn, all on hagalon. According to the vein onto. The vein is where your blood's at. According to the vein, what type of onto. Of tau, hour on of. This EK represents the L, and so that's of. And they're saying this out is tau, but tau means the way. And it was strange, I dreamt about this last night. It was a Chinese book called Tao Lu, The Way of the Moon, and Lu Chang, and the moon's change. It caused me to look it up and read some on it this morning, but it's the Tao or the Tao. I say that's that first day in the Hebrew Bible that spelled DHA, because it's the same spelling for the letter Tao, the way they pronounce it, and the letter appears to look like the sign for Jupiter, but it said to me the way, the path, the route, the doctrine or principle. It was a very vivid dream. It was just it would look like a picture in a child's book, and Arabian guy, with his hand out pointing out the words and explaining the meanings. But it means the way, the road, the pathway, the way to heaven. In Sun Tzu, the art of war, or the Tao causes the people to be fully in accord with the ruler. In the archaic pronunciation of the Tao sounded approximately like drog, dorg, and this links to the Proto-Indo-European root drug, be drugged, to run along, daurg, the way or the movement. And it's where we got our word dragway. In Norwegian dialect, a drog, a trail of animals. And so this is the middle path. It's the gold, the yellow brick road, the rainbow. The reds would be on the darker side, and the yellow in the middle, and then the green, blue, purple on the lower side. And you'll see it here, on the earth side, you have the purple. And the light is divided in the darks and the lights. And so you have, the yellow in the middle, and you have the red and the orange on the dark side, on the top side, and then blue and the green, the purple on the earth side. The hour on of. And so this is hour on of, like HOUR on of, but it doesn't mean what we think of as an hour. There used to be 12 double hours, and that was your 12 seasons. But during the day, the sun doesn't move, across the hours. The sun stays in the same hour all day long. And so an hour on of could mean a month when the sun's in that month, when that 12 signs. Or it could mean an age when Easter sits in that sign for an entire age. So the hour on of, it's on to, its exousian is the one given authority. The exousia is the one with the exous is the one, the power to act, an executor of the will, the one with the power to act, authority of. And the IAN afterward, is the person with that. And so the hour on of, it's on to exousian, with the one given the authority, megalon. And so your word for big is God. That's the ancient Adam word. When you see something that's huge, your jaw drops and you say gaw, and so this is me, from the gaw, and it's where your word gallon come from. We drinking whiskey by the gallon. And from the gale, a gale, force winds, a huge wind. From the gale, from gaw. You can see it here, the gale, a strong wind. You don't need the ME on the front of it to mean large, big, strong. A gaggle of geese, of a whole bunch of geese. You don't need the ME on front. Middle English, the gallon, to sing, to enchant, to call, to cry, to scream, large noises. And to have a gala, a good old time. And you see here, like most words in Greek, they'll try to totally reverse the meaning. And in Greek it's calm, the same as nay is yes. And all the other words we seem to have opposite meaning. So from within thought they dawn all on Hagalon. All the haggle of angels are haggling. They're discussing. Within the thought they discuss according to the vein onto, which vein onto, of the way of the hour on of, it's shown to the executor of the great from the galen. And then this key here is just the vav, as in the Hebrew, WH, which, to divide. You got a group of them and you divide them and you select out one. Which one? Which go equities sit. Which go equity sit. And they say equity, is coming from the base word of equal, to being fair, impartial, from aquas, equal, but that's not right. This is a good picture of equity. This is equal. Everybody gets a box. And the man on top, he's seeing, yeah, that's equal. And the man in the middle, yeah, that's equal. The man on the bottom, he's not seeing the equality there. He wants more equity. And this puts you equal on the top. And this is reality. The man on the top just keeps stacking it up. And the man on the bottom is digging the hole. So we're in reality. And they're trying to give us equity in the disguise of equality. And it's going to end up liberation. Except this isn't a good picture of liberation. Because if there was no fence there, nobody's paying to watch the game. And then the players aren't getting paid, so then there's no more game. And so they're saying in capitalism, that everybody has a chance. And the man on the top, he's really stacking it up. But everybody has a chance, to earn enough to see over the fence. Which go equities it of those doxes what to. And doxes is not glory. Dox's document, which go equities if of those docs has what too. You got your documents, you get your equities. Will rates in buy share the phone in of command, and then this starts the poem down here. You know, you can see it better in this Bible where this line stops, you know, and he command, he alleged, he said, and then it's the poem. You know, this is the W and the L. Will rats in RA, you know, the X is the TS. Will the rats in, and being this N follows this N, it lets me know that this is a B. It goes with this next word. Will the rats in buys share? And so, you know, BIS is buys, means two. Bis, buys. You know, in music it means to do it again, to be repeated, to buy twice. You know, to the rats in buy, to repeat share. The phone, it's the phone on of legion. You know, legion, I believe it's command. You know, legend, to a legend, of legend. And then appeasing the peas in Babylon. And then the HM, come the gale, come the great. You know, Pessin is an obsolete form of Pesane. And Pesane is a feminine plural of Pisano. And Pisano just means of Pisa, of Italy. You know, the Tower of Pisa means Italian. And again, it to cat who catch Therion, the cat who catch theory on, the die money on, you know, the die, the through, money, M-O-N-Y, the money on, the dominion is kind of playing on the word dominion, the face on the money, the die, the money on, get your face printed on the money, be the king. And few lack pantos. You know, tos is able, so this is panable. And it means not every, but it means edible. You know, a potable water is something that can be eaten or drink, potable. And panable is a food that's edible. And few lack the edibles. And the pneumatos, you know, the tos is able, but the M reads before the air. You know, that which is from the arable, a cater to. And few lack the edibles, the orin of a cater to. The orin, that looks like the word for a crow in the Latin. You know, the cornix, cornicator, the crow crieth, and it means the corn to cater. You know, when you hear the crow crying, he's catering in your corn. And then I don't read this part, everything between these, because it wasn't in the original, it was added later. And having been hated is, and the maymays come in of. You know, the maymays are coming in. You know, the more you're hated, the more maymays they make of you. And so maymays, we like to think it's something new that Generation X invented, but it's been going on forever. They've if they don't like the king, they make maymays of him on the wall. They draw pictures of him in obscenities. The maymays coming of, having been hated. So that's the end of line 2 here. And down here at the bottom of line 4, here's the word, you may have fellowship. But what this actually means is liberty. And I'm not going to put it in this movie. I'm going to give y'all a chance to think about this and see how I get liberty out of this word. get everybody's brain working, and I'll put it in the next movie. This is 20 minutes long here, and I'll read on down the next couple lines in the next movie. But yeah, that's liberty.